OpenStreetMap.org is a great resource for OpenGIS information. Here we are in Washington, D.C. We can zoom in into a site and see the buildings and the field around McKinley School, Langley Elementary School, and McKinley Technology High School. We can actually get these features extracted. So for example, if we found a property line for a school district, we can actually extract it or even extract the buildings. The way to do this is another tool that uses OpenStreetMap background. It's called Overpass Turbo, overpass-turbo.eu. And in this one, we can actually do a search. So for example, if you go to the wizard button and you say school grounds, it says, did you mean school grounds? Yes, I meant school grounds. Let's build a query of what's in view in the map here. So dots appear on a map. There's actually even some that have a shape around them. So here's one for Raymond. Here's another school right here, another one over here. So we can, for example, select this school here and zoom in on this feature here and say, let's do an export. So we're going to export, in fact, before we do an export, let's do a search again. I'm going to search again for school grounds. It's only going to search this particular site here. So it's isolated to just this area right here. And it actually selected 4 things here. It actually selected a building next door and a building on the site, but let's see if this works. So from here, I'm going to go to export. I'm going to export as a KML. Click on that, and it'll start exporting a KML file of that feature that's been found in the, there it goes, it exported a KML. And then I could open up KML in Google Earth and look at it in 3D and make sure it's the right one, but I'm going to try and skip ahead and see if I can create a BIM from that in the Onuma system. So I'm going to add an empty scheme. This particular site, what was it called? Let's give it the name actually so we can recognize it. Roosevelt School. Okay, so let's go back and create a scheme called Roosevelt. And let's select the KML file here. There's a select button here. And I'm going to grab the KML file that we just saved right here, export number 11. Choose that, and upload it. And there it is. It actually selected the KML of Roosevelt. I'm going to hit proceed. So now, without having to manually trace the site, I have the property line around Roosevelt. It doesn't have any buildings yet, and I can continue on and trace them directly in Onuma, or I'm going to go back to that Overpass Turbo tool. And this time I'm going to zoom all the way in and just look at these buildings here. And the reason I'm zooming in is I only want it to select these buildings. I'm going to type in building for a search and see what it finds. Okay, it found the outlines for this building and actually these other 2 buildings that were within frame. It didn't select the other ones, so now I know that only these 3 are selected. So if I hit export again and download a KML file again of these buildings only, go back into Onuma, and now I'm going to do import in Onuma. On the right side it says import. I'm going to import, and there's 2 Google Earth view options here. Import building from Google Earth, or there's another one for importing from Google Earth. This one actually has more features right here. So let's select this one. It says import update site components. It's buildings, parking lots, all kinds of things. So let's go ahead and choose the latest Google Earth file, KML file that we just saved. Let's see, where did it go? Yeah, that's probably it. Export 12. Choose that. Import. And what it has done is it found 9 things to import. It's asking me what do I want to set these as. So I'm going to set these as buildings. I don't know how many. I'm going to guess there are 3 floors. And I'm going to guess that each floor is about 12, 13, 14 feet. So let's just say 40-foot total height for the building. And I can go individually one by one, but I'm just going to say apply this to all of them. So see how it filled in all the buildings at that. And we could always adjust or delete this later. Just doing this for speed here. It also selected one in place mark even here, so even if it's a dot, it goes ahead and selects it. So let's go ahead and proceed and see what happens. It's importing the KML file that was exported earlier from the source. So it actually selected that one building. For some reason it missed that one. Maybe it was not correctly formatted. Actually, there it is. It's just a dot. But this one is pretty good representation of that building. So I actually was able to pull the GIS data and create a building in Onuma. Now we have the beginning of a BIM, which we can continue to do things like calculate the roof area, put solar panels, go inside the building and add other assets and spaces if needed. But it's a very quick way of not having to manually trace information in Onuma or in a GIS, and just use the open source data that's available in OpenStreetMap that has a lot of buildings. Many urban areas like this, you zoom and you can find a lot of buildings. You can only import about 100 buildings at a time into BIM, into this Onuma interface here, but immediately we have a report now, a site report that is going to start calculating areas. Remember, we just made it 3 stories, so it's starting to calculate areas and energy. We can continue to refine that.